Good morning, everybody. This is Data Pioneer Southeast coming to you from the Windows 10 Tech News and Reviews website. And today, I would like to talk to you briefly about encrypted email and why I use it. Um, I am a big proponent of encrypted email, and I've talked about it previously in videos that I've shown, put up on YouTube, but I will mention it now if you haven't heard from me about why I use encrypted email. Basically, the concept is this. I would not put a letter that I was mailing to someone in the United States or internationally in my mailbox without first putting it in an envelope. I see the envelope as a way of hiding the contents of that letter so that if somebody walked up to my mailbox and opened the door um, and looked in, they would see the envelope, but they wouldn't be able to read the letter unless they opened that envelope. The intended recipient of that mail or letter is the person I'm sending it to. It's the one it's addressed to on the outside of the envelope. Same goes for email. You know, when I send an email to somebody, to my brother, to my sister, to a friend, a coworker, when I was working, I'm retired now, but um, you know, I would send an email to them, and I would not want that email intercepted. I would not want somebody sitting on the other side or in between being able to read the contents of my email to my intended recipient. Okay, and that's what email encryption does. Email encryption hides the contents of that email or electronic mail, if you will. That's exactly what it stands for. Um, would not be able to just eavesdrop on it, read it, and you know, send it on to its intended recipient without my knowledge. The NSA, the National Security Agency, the FBI, and the CIA probably do that for sure with American citizens, and they do it worldwide. And I understand the reason for it with terrorists and that kind of thing in the world. Why they would want to be able to read that email because if they were doing nefarious things, they would want to know about it ahead of time because those factions, the terrorists and cyber terrorists, do um, communicate with one another over email platforms. However, um, I don't like the fact that they scan emails worldwide, and I don't know what they do with it. I don't want them reading my mail. So what I have done, and we're up on the site now. I have signed up for a long time ago when these folks first started um, their end-to-end encrypted email platform. I signed up, and I believe that was as far back as it's 2019 now. I think 2014 is when they started. I could be wrong about that, but it's been a few years now, and I was one of the early people. I was one of their beta testers, if you will, and I got a free email account for a while. I do pay ProtonMail now for enhanced um, email storage. It is end-to-end encrypted. It is secure email. It is based in Switzerland. It is an email platform that is secure because it is end-to-end encrypted. And what I mean by that is only people who you want to send the email to can read it. Not even the people who run this platform can read your email. It's encrypted, sitting on the server. The email that I send somebody in the United States or to Australia or to England or whatever, um, no one in between can read that email. The email doesn't go anywhere. It sits on the server in Switzerland. They get an email basically that says you have an encrypted email and you want to read it. They open it and then they read the email sitting on the server. That email never goes outside the server in Switzerland, sitting on somebody else's Gmail or Outlook or whatever, Microsoft Outlook. None of their servers. It doesn't sit there, and therefore it's not for them to grab and decrypt and do whatever they want to with it. That email sits in Switzerland. Now, having said that, as a result of that, the NSA or FBI or CIA, not that I do anything that's illegal, I will tell you that, but if they were to subpoena the Swiss government to read my email message. The Swiss government would not allow it. They would not honor the subpoena from the federal courts, the FBI, NSA, or from my government, the United States, to read my email, and I like that. So let's take a look at this. I'm on the page now for logging in, but let's get into looking at what it's all about. So I'm going to click on the About link here, and that takes you to some information about ProtonMail. It says we're building an internet that protects privacy, starting with email, and it talks about the scientists and engineers that developed this email system. You can look on, you can read their blog, and you can explore the security features, and we'll do that in a moment. But let's look at the management team. It's made up basically on the management side of two guys, Dr. Andy Yen, who's the CEO and founder of ProtonMail. And let's look at Andy. Andy has over 8 years of experience in distributed computing for demanding particle physics applications. Andy was a researcher at CERN from 2009 to 2015, where ProtonMail's founding team met. He has a PhD in physics from Harvard and a degree in economics from Caltech. And then the other side, the CTO of ProtonMail, is Dr. Hart Butler. He is a senior engineer at ProtonMail and an expert on cryptography. Previously, he worked at CERN as well for 4 years as a researcher at the Large Hadron Collider. He has a PhD in particle physics from Stanford and was a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard. All right, so these are the two guys who manage ProtonMail. Now, there is technical leadership. So the technical leadership is made up of 4 individuals. Ding Chao Lu, he's the technical operations person. He leads the email and storage team that is responsible for site reliability, holds a degree in electrical engineering from Caltech, and has a master's degree in computer science from USC. He is also adventurous outdoorsman and competitive chess player. Dr. Jan Vaverica is the infrastructure person. He builds the data centers. He's a server infrastructure person. He has monitoring tools, and he was a researcher at CERN and a postdoctoral fellow at MIT working on the CMS experiment. Jan has a PhD in physics from Caltech and a diploma in physics from RWTH Anachen University. Okay, MIT engineers, by the way, developed ProtonMail. So just to let you know that. Also, the front end is Richard Tataz. Richard hails from France and leads our front end engineering team. He focuses on writing clean, elegant, and efficient code. So he is the programmer for ProtonMail. His passion is building beautiful products and working with wonderful people. He has 7 years of experience in building complex web applications. He's been one of the front runners, and that's why he's on the front end of ProtonMail. And he is from France. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. It probably is Richard Tataz. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. And then finally, Yanfeng Zhang is a software architect, and Feng works on the infrastructure, mobile, and designing cryptography libraries. He has over 10 years of experience at gaming and payment startups around the world. Feng is also an expert in mobile apps and development and software design. And then we have Jason Stockman, who is the UX UI person. Jason works on building ProtonMail's web interfaces. He has over 10 years of experience building easy-to-use interfaces for large organizations such as Epson, 3M, Versace, and he is an international Red Cross person. He is one of the co-founders of ProtonMail. And finally, Dino Kardric. He works on the mobile side. Dino is a mobile developer with many years of experience building complex applications. He's responsible for ProtonMail's mobile applications and for ensuring a good mobile user experience. Dino is based in Macedonia office. Okay. All right, so there is operational leadership. I'll just mention here they are. I'll just show you who they are. I won't get into each one specifically, but there is an operational leadership team there. And they are Alex Rosier, Violeta Kachaska, and Antonio Gambardella. I hope I didn't smear anybody's name in the process here. Alex is a business development side person. Violeta is a customer support person, and Antonio is an advisor. Okay, so that is leadership, technical leadership, management, et cetera, et cetera. So let's look at the security features of ProtonMail. I did mention to you earlier that it is an end-to-end encrypted platform, which means it's encrypted all the way through from beginning to end. This is a diagram that basically shows you how that process works. Messages are encrypted at all times. They're never unencrypted until they get to the recipient. And then they're decrypted rather, on the recipient side. So messages are stored on ProtonMail's servers in encrypted format. They are also transmitted in encrypted format between our servers and user devices. And the messages between ProtonMail users are also transmitted in encrypted form within our secure server network. Because data is encrypted at all steps, the risk of message interception is largely eliminated. I like that. Zero access to user data. Your encrypted data is not accessible to us. In other words, even the folks that work at ProtonMail cannot read my message or your message if you have an account here. And by the way, the website link, I failed to mention that. I will put that in the link down below the video, is protonmail.com, HTTPS, protonmail.com. ProtonMail's zero-access architecture means that your data is encrypted in a way that makes it inaccessible to us. Data is encrypted on the client side using an encryption key that we do not have access to. This means we don't have the technical ability to decrypt your message or messages, and as a result, we're unable to hand your data over to third parties, and that's a good thing. They can't hand my data over to the NSA, the CIA, the FBI. There are no backdoors built into this platform, folks, regardless of what you're told. There are no backdoors here. And with ProtonMail, privacy isn't just a promise. It's a mathematically ensured thing. And for this reason, we're also unable to do data recovery. So if you lose your email through the system, you can't get it back. You forget your password, your email cannot be recovered. You basically will have to start over with a new account for all intents and purposes. I know where my password is. It's not on a system where somebody can gain access to it. I know what it is. I can get into it, and that's a good thing. It uses an open source cryptography process, so therefore it's not accessible by NSA, FBI, CIA. It doesn't use in-house governmentally controlled cryptography. It's a time-tested and trusted encryption algorithm that runs the system. ProtonMail uses only secure implementations of AES and RSA along with OpenPGP. Furthermore, all of the cryptographic libraries we use are open source. Now, PGP, pretty good privacy. I've been a follower of them for many, many years. Richard Zimmerman is the founder and developer of PGP. And now I believe he's a fellow. He no longer is in control of the company. It's open PGP now, but he is a fellow that advises to pretty good privacy. I used that for many years. Great product, by the way. And Mr. Zimmerman actually went to Congress and had to testify on the Hill for why he was not going to allow the United States government to put backdoors in his product. And he won the case. So I applaud him for his willingness to stand up for keeping my email private during the times when I used PGP. ProtonMail works with OpenPGP, and as it says here, and so that's a good thing. That means that your mail is secure. It says by using open source libraries, we can guarantee that the encryption algorithms that we are using do not have clandestine built-in backdoors. ProtonMail's open source software has been thoroughly vetted by security experts from around the world to ensure the highest level of protection. All right. There is a blog here for ProtonMail that you can get into. I won't go into this in a lot of depth. You can get in here and read all about ProtonMail, about two-factor authentication, why you should trust ProtonMail, and why we oppose unregulated facial recognition surveillance. They talk about introducing multi-account support for ProtonMail here. ProtonMail is now more secure against sophisticated attacks, clarifying ProtonMail and Highway. Alternative app stores for ProtonMail's Android app. You can get ProtonMail for Android. You can get it for iPhone. You can get it for Linux and macOS as well. There is a bridge, a ProtonMail bridge for Linux platforms. I use that when I use a client, and that client being Thunderbird. I don't use Thunderbird a lot anymore, so I don't have really a need for the Proton bridge, and that's because I use the ProtonMail web interface. There's a section here on how to avoid becoming the next victim of data breach, and then how does PGP work? Okay, how does PGP encryption work, and how is it integrated and implemented in ProtonMail? And there's various other things that that you can look at here. You can create your own account here. Very easy to do. It is free. There is parts of this that you have to pay for, VPN side, and for expanded storage. You get 1 gig, I believe, of storage automatically, and then you can expand it. I've got 5 gigs. You can go for up here on the web for careers and look at the careers section here. They are hiring folks in ProtonMail. They're open positions, what they offer, and you can meet the team. Okay, let's go back to the home page. Here you can support ProtonMail as well. You can ask questions. You can get support from them. If you have trouble with the web app, you can ask the questions here. For mobile apps, customer domains, you can report a bug, and you can request a feature. Like I said, I was a supporter and still am a very good supporter, I believe, of ProtonMail. I was on the ground floor for this, and I was a beta tester. I was able to report bugs to them for things that I discovered. They fixed those very quickly, and they were very responsive. When I've had support issues with ProtonMail, I send an email off to support@protonmail.com. I get an answer within 24 hours. And so I'm very happy with ProtonMail. There is an enterprise end of it. There's business email and GDPR compliance. They are GDPR compliant. I like that as well. So let's look at the ProtonMail here. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And so when I click on the login button, it takes me to my interface here. My email address of dancalloway@protonmail.com. I don't mind sharing that with the world. I do have an email password, obviously, and I will not share that with the world, though. And if I click this login button, it's going to log me in to my account. And so this is the web-based application platform here. And so here I am. I'm in my ProtonMail account. I can come up here to the settings, and click on the settings button. And here's my email address, dancalloway@pm.me, and that stands for ProtonMail. It's short. Here's my display name. Here's my signature. I can go over here to the notification side and reset notification email. It's the reset notification email is Gmail. So if I do have a problem with my ProtonMail account, I can fall back on my Gmail account to reset the password in case I lose it. I haven't done that yet. Hope I don't. Allow password reset is enabled. I can disable it if I want to disable it altogether. I can get daily email notifications. That is enabled, or I can disable it. Here I can change my password. I can switch to 2-password mode if I wish, so that when I mask one password, it switches me over to ask a second password, and that just adds to the security of the system. My default language here is English, and I can automatically save contacts when I email someone, and that is enabled. If I want to disable it, disable that I can, and that way when I send an email to someone, that will not automatically save them as a contact. And so for email content, I load remote content automatically. I could do it manually if I like. I can load embedded images automatically, and I can request link confirmation or disable it. I have that now disabled. Keyboard shortcuts here, I have that enabled, and I can disable it if I like. For address priority, for what I have here, I have Dan Calloway at pm.me being my primary and default address. If I want to change that and send email from another email, for instance, protonmail.ch or .com, or Data Pioneer at nLinux Veritas, which is my domain website, I can do that, and then I can move that up to the top and make it default. Email subscriptions I have set here, and I've got all of these checked as you see. For searches here, I do not require exact match. If I uncheck that, it would have to be an exact match for searching. And then if I want to delete my account, I'm allowed to do that, and I can just hit the delete your account button there. Okay. For contacts, I can click on here, and here are all my contacts. I can report bugs if I have a question. Let's go back to the mail here real quick. If I go into settings one more time and go over to filters, I can add a filter here, okay, to filter my mail. I can check my spam filters here as well, and I have spam filtering turned on so that all my messages that are not recognized in the system go to my spam, but I look at my spam folder all the time before I empty it. There is a whitelist and a blacklist here. I can add names to the whitelist, and then I can add names to the blacklist. So I can just click the add button and add an email address. So if I get an email address in from someone, let's say someone I do business with all the time, and I want to make sure that they never get put in my spam so that I don't miss the message if I happen not to review my spam folder, I can click the add button here and just add that email address to the whitelist and then click save, and then it will go over here to the whitelist. For instance, like newsletters at technologyreview.com is now on my whitelist. So that email address, any email coming in with this email address, newsletters at technologyreview.com, will never get sent to spam and will never get deleted. It will automatically come to my inbox. If I, on the other hand, want to make sure that messages get sent to the blacklist and never get sent to my inbox, I can put them over here. One of them in particular is newsletters at softmaker.com. I wanted to make sure that that never hit my inbox and goes to my spam or goes to the trash, okay? And so you can set those as well. All right, I can set an auto reply, and I have it disabled right now, but if I click enable, if I'm going on vacation or something like that, I can set an auto reply message, enable it, and then anybody who sends me an email, they will get an automatic reply. And a lot of email systems do that now, but this one does it as well. For security purposes here, I can invoke or enable the two-factor authentication. Right now I have that turned off, and I have reasons for doing that I won't explain. But it's not an issue that I had with ProtonMail. It's for a personal reason. Session management here tells me that the current session I'm in is the ProtonMail for the web. And then that was created today at 12:53 p.m. If I want to revoke the ProtonMail for the web session that I started on October the 4th, I can click the revoke button here and revoke it, and I can go through the entire history. All right. Those sessions are still available if I want to access them. That doesn't mean that it's a security problem. It just means I have it set that way. Okay, authentication logs. I can look at the IP address that logged into my account here, logged in and logged out. If there was a failed access, it will show up in the log as well. And this is on the advanced setting. All right. The appearance here I can change. I can change the composer, the layout, the toolbar, the conversation grouping. For addresses and users here, I've got that set up with multi-user support. Very nice thing here. For domains, I can bring in my nLinux Veritas domain here for bringing my domain mail into my system. And I like the idea that I can do that. My address at my domain is datapioneer at nlinuxveritas.com. It is currently enabled. All right. I can send an email from my ProtonMail account and make it look like it's coming from datapioneer at nlinuxveritas.com. I like that because if somebody sends an email to me via my website, my domain, I can respond to it in that fashion from this platform. Okay, so I do have keys. I do have payment set up because I do have expanded storage, as I told you. There is a Proton VPN interface as well for the Windows, for Mac, for GNU Linux, for iOS, and for Android. I've got that set up as well. I've got it set up for logging in and password set up for that as well. We'll not share those, obviously. Let's get back to the mail, and you can see that I do have 2.72 gigabytes of storage out of 5 being used. I've never deleted a ProtonMail message, so I have that set up as well. All right, so this has been a look at ProtonMail. Thank you for joining me today on Windows 10 Tech News and Reviews. Hope you have a great day. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.